The mission statement is to take care of all the children and their families in the Bundjalung Nation. That was our vision. And always bringing kids back to country and taken care of by Aboriginal carers and an Aboriginal organisation. And restore children back to kin, family where possible. That was our vision for Ngunya Jarjum.
When I came to Lismore in 1980, I was very aware that many of the kids I was working with were Aboriginal kids in non-Aboriginal placements. And I also had responsibility for the North Coast Children's Home as a caseworker. And I was pretty distressed by seeing whole families of kids, including little ones, lined up in the dormitories along the walls. I was lucky to have a woman who was the Aboriginal Welfare Officer, Sandra Bolt. She would say to me there are 4 types of abuse. We used to hear about, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse and neglect. And she said, well, if you're an Aboriginal kid, there's a 5th one, and that's removal. And that struck me, it really hit home to me. There was something that I hadn't had to deal with. So we started to call community, got a group of elders and other community people together, Sandra and I, and we said, this is what's happening. How any of you want to work with us to try and address this?
The problem was that a lot of the Aboriginal Bundjalung, all the children in the Bundjalung Nation, not only Bundjalung Nation but throughout Australia, were being placed in white care with white carers. We had a stolen generation. We're having another stolen generation where we thought they were losing their identity again, and we had to do something.
This is in maybe 1982, and we were encouraged to join up with the Aboriginal unit at Southern Cross University. And those meetings were fairly massively attended and very vocal and very passionate. In fact, I was overwhelmed by the passion. I thought, well, what have we opened here?
It was a lot of dedicated members of the community from Tweed to Grafton. Had a lot of input in that.
One of the things we wanted to do was establish an Aboriginal group home. That's where you've got Aboriginal group home parents and where Aboriginal kids could be placed, at least with their own members of their own community. And we were successful in doing that. So that was at 130 Johnson Street over in Casino, and that became the home for Russell and Christine Freeburn, who were our first group home parents, and it was set up in 1990. It was very soon full of kids to overcrowding, and Russell and Christine did an absolutely amazing job.
And Minna coined it, that we had the stolen generations and now we're dealing with the lost generations, which is true.
We had a vision, and we never wavered from that vision. And I think that's very, very important. This was something that we had to do. Well, Doc's owned a lot of the homes that the children were in, like North Coast Children's Home. They sold off all the existing premises that housed foster kids.
The decision was made that we'd use whatever funding we had for that group home, and we will try and bring back the funding that went to places like the North Coast Children's Home and other organisations in the area who were looking after Aboriginal kids to set up Ngunya Jarjum, which we did, and we engaged Russell Freeburn to help us set up Ngunya Jarjum as an organisation.
So we thought, why not put a tender in so we can look after our own children? We formed a committee, and I was the first chairperson of that committee in '95.
And we got 3 tenders, including 2 from Sydney, but Ngunya Jarjum was the standout in terms of what it intended to provide. And Russell went on to be employed as the first manager and opened the service in 1999. So that was at 130 Johnson Street over in Casino.
When I was looking for a logo, I was looking at a family picture, and I was thinking, oh, I could just change that. I like that sort of setting, but I wanted the sun around them. I wanted to create an environment of family. and then I knew I'll just change this one, and I'll put his arm like that, and then I sort of got him all bent and twisted out of shape and stuff. And I was thinking, oh yeah, that's good. And then anyway, then I went to print, and I think, God, that's ugly. How could I have done that? And I gave him a big head, his hair, but you can't see that it's hair. It just looks like he got a big fat head. And then he's got a twisted arm, and it looks like the kids punched him in the yarras. And I was thinking, oh God, that's ugly. And now it's everywhere. See, the philosophy was strong even if the design wasn't.
We were funded for 17 placements at first. That's all we were funded for, and 1.5 staff. That's all we to cover the far north coast. It was huge. But the part is that we had to visit all the Aboriginal communities. We had to get across to them that we weren't black dogs, that we weren't taking their children away from them. Then Russell went and then set up APSEC, our peak. Then I was there. I worked 12 months, 18 months by myself.
And Minna stepped down as chair of the Ngunya Jarjum board, and Russell rang me and asked if I'd come back and give Minna some support, because he knew things were it was quite a challenging time.
Then I went out and headhunted Melody. She had no idea casework, but I said, come work for me. She turned out a really great caseworker. It's only me and her. Then Sissy come along, Janine Signs, and there's only 3 of us. And oh boy, did we work.
So we got a little bit more funding, and we employed a second caseworker. I think both caseworkers might have gone to full time. And we took on 27 kids. And that's about where Ngunya Jarjum stayed for some time. Community services, we'd also established an Aboriginal intensive family group home, and they moved all those staff into the same old group home at 130 Johnston Street. It very soon became overcrowded, and community services, in their wisdom, just asked Ngunya Jarjum to find somewhere else. So we found an old home, moved up the road to 38 Johnston Street, and they did active recruitment. They got quite a number of foster carers, and I think about that time the department looked at increasing the capacity of Aboriginal services to be able to, I guess, meet all the new accreditation standards.
When we gained our first accreditation, it was a great story. Because as you're aware, Ngunya Jarjum was the first organisation to be accredited in New South Wales. We were presented to Parliament. It was really great because Linda Burney, she was our minister at that time. It was an experience for us to be invited to Parliament and to be presented with our certificate first. And it was great because Parliament was sitting. And then, unbeknown to us, she marches us in to Parliament. And we were presented to Parliament, which was, I don't know, I just burst out crying. I think we all bawled because we didn't know. It was just unbelievable. It was great.
Black man dreaming.
But all the time there was massive stuff happening within community services, and a big push, I guess, to get more and more services out to the non-government organisations. I think that about that time we were probably caring for about up to 60 kids, but we were very aware that there were probably another 100, at least another 100 Aboriginal kids throughout the far north coast with non-Aboriginal carers.
So there come the big push from up top saying, okay, NJ, Ngunya Jarjum, you want your children, you can have your children, but we'll transition them over with the non-Indigenous carers. We said, okay. So we had to find a building, and thank the Lord we did.
I don't even know what is it? 180 Molesworth Street, and it's was the old Commonwealth Bank building.
And on top of that, we're doing a next lot of accreditation. We're, not resourced. We didn't have the staff. We worked our guts out here because we didn't want the kids to go into non-Indigenous organisations.
So that was a major thing, but it meant more staff, more policies.
We've at our capacity now. We've got 143 children, 141, and we've signed off 159. We need to, yes, we need to expand. We need to recruit, which is going to be hard for us because we need the resources. No one is studying to be in this field. You know, it's not everybody can be caseworkers. Not everybody wants to work in this field.
But I think we've got almost every variety of person here, and that's what that strength comes from. They're really committed to making life better for kids.
Our people are so strong.
We are the biggest organisation on the North Coast. And we are the lead organisation, coming from just one. And that's a story. That's a success within itself. After going through and fighting the odds, fighting the department, we had to fight for every cent. Fight. Many times I've been there. You've never seen me in a meeting, mate. Used to be blue, but I didn't care. JH was a good cop. I was the bad cop. I'd just come and say bang, 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 F and this and F and that. You don't put this in. It's all, and this is the way it is. And that's the way I'd just walk out. But it worked.
We're in a meeting with docs, and Minna started going off at them. I won't tell you the situation, what happened, because it's a long story, and I tend to make long stories longer anyway. So she was going off at them, and I say, Min, because I wanted to get our point across. I said, Min, and she's saying, yeah, you bloody do this and that. Blah. I said, Lenore, and then she stops. So when she hears the name Lenore, she knows.
Ngunya Jarjum has always been the benchmark organisation. It's always been, I will never change the culture, okay? Ngunya Jarjum is cultural. Okay, we are accountable to the communities we serve, always, foremost.
It felt, in a way, that we'd reached our vision, that we could say that Bundjalung people were now caring for Bundjalung kids. There's still a way to go. We've still got some kids that are still coming back. It's been a massive thing to grow to an organisation this size. It's probably got 30 staff now. And I think we can all look back and feel really proud that it's been a major achievement.
I'm very proud of the way Ngunya Jarjum has developed over the years, and we just need to make sure, that we do the right thing all the time,
We were dedicated. We had dedicated community people with a passion. It was a passion, and it still is a passion for me. We had that vision, but we never wavered. It was passion to bring our kids back, Bundjalung kids back to Bundjalung Nation, back to their own country.